Hi friends, everyone. I'm Zhuge Fengyun. In this episode, we are going to talk about the reciprocal trade tariffs imposed by President Trump on most countries in the world, which are very popular these days. Because Taiwan province has a huge trade surplus with the United States, it is a deficit for the United States. That is, the amount of goods sold by Taiwan province to the United States exceeds the goods imported from the United States. So I have watched a lot of political programs these days. My host, especially the financial channel, many people say that we can strengthen military procurement from the United States to offset this huge deficit, so we specially made this episode to tell you the answer. Most of the procurement of military weapons is excluded from the trade quota between the two countries. Why do I have the qualification to talk about this topic? First of all, in the past 20 years of my service, I served as a budget finance officer, so I actually have my expertise in the Ministry of National Defense. The first one to share is financial management. The second one is that I got automatic data. The processing officer is the expertise of the information officer. And the third one, I also got the expertise of the logistics supervisor. In addition, I would like to describe my academic qualifications. I am from the National Defense University, the 1985 class of the Accounting Department of the School of Management, the 1992 class of the Institute of Financial Management. In addition, I am from the Institute of Business Administration of National Taipei University. I graduated in 2014. In 2013, I got my doctorate in January, so the field of finance and economics has always been one of my specialties, and military affairs has been my interest since childhood. First of all, please remember to like, subscribe, share, turn on the big bell, and let our video be recommended by the algorithm. In addition, our channel has established communities, 4-line communities, and a Discord community. We have a military version, which is currently the largest military community in Taiwan. There are more than 2,280 people. In addition, we have a political version. This is the stratosphere of the Taiwanese faction, where we can talk about political issues. In the third one, we have a leisure coffee shop, where we can chat about some trivial matters and gossip. In addition, there are also expert groups that can have less information, but all very important military information will be released. Finally, we have the international version of Discode, which allows friends who don't have Taiwan province door numbers to join us in the discussion, and our JSON administrator will serve you. We have Mango Instructor every Saturday afternoon, the former F-16 seed instructor Mango. He hosts an online reading club to help us strengthen our knowledge related to military aviation. Everyone is welcome to join us. If you want to join our line group, you have to answer 2 questions correctly. The first question is, which country are you from? At present, we do not accept the accession of the Chinese Communist Party because we are hostile to him. The second question is, what is Xi Jinping's nickname? We use these 2 questions as the secret code for identifying friend or foe. The focus of news discussions these days is that President Trump's reciprocal tariffs are simple and rude, which directly points out that everyone's trade with the United States is unfair. In fact, the United States also gives many countries the most national treatment. Of course, we are not citizens of the United States, and we don't care about our feelings. What he cares about is the interests of the United States. This 1.1 must be clarified with you. So either you stand with the United States or you stand on the opposite side of him. Our suggestion is not to stand on the opposite side of the United States. Countries around the world have responded differently to President Trump's reciprocal trade. Many countries have begun to implement strong rebounds and retaliations. We want to look at Israel and Vietnam. They have both directly expressed their views on the loss of the United States and directly expressed their views on the United States. Zero tariffs and accelerate the integration of their own markets with the U.S. market. Israel, it has been one of the most loyal partners of the United States since then, and Vietnam once fought the Vietnam War with the United States. However, under today's ever-changing international situation, Taiwan province has no other choice but to stand with the United States bravely. President Trump's calculation method is very simple. That is, we directly remove our trade deficit with the United States from our trade volume with him. Of course, there are many tax rate factors in the middle, so the relatively simplified algorithm has many channels. We have done some analysis, so to put it simply, most goods in Taiwan will experience a tariff of 32%. However, we should note that most countries in the world are given a tariff of at least 10%. Even the United Kingdom is sold by the United States. There are more things to the United Kingdom, and the United Kingdom suffers more, but the United Kingdom is also assigned a tariff of 10%, so Taiwan receives an overall average tariff of 32%. In addition, after, there are also semiconductors and pharmaceuticals in the preface. We still don't know what the final tax rate for these industries will be. So, in the past few days, many financial stations and many celebrities are saying that we can increase military procurement from the United States to balance the trade deficit. But frankly, they may have no idea about military procurement at all, so we specially made this episode to help you introduce our military procurement from the United States. It can be divided into 3 categories. If subdivided, there are 4 types. The first type is the common arms sales announced by the U.S. government to Taiwan, which is the U.S. Overseas Arms Sales Channel FMS. The second type is under the approval of the U.S. State Department. The Taiwan government makes purchases from U.S. arms dealers, or the output of digital services is called the DCS Direct Commercial Sales Channel. The third type is military personnel, which is given to you by the U.S. government. This has been implemented during the Biden administration and is currently being delivered. There are 2 types in it, that is, the Presidential Appropriation Authority PDA and the Foreign Military Financing FMF. Presidential Appropriation Authority PDA are authorized by the President of the United States to be removed from the U.S. government's inventory in emergency situations. It is the warehouse of the Ministry of National Defense, where their existing equipment is directly allocated to you. Therefore, when Taiwan had diplomatic relations with the United States in the early days, a lot of our equipment was directly assisted by the United States, and of course it also included fuel. The upper limit of PDAs for this type of service is US $1 billion per year. During President Biden's term of office, this appropriation power was used to provide equipment for our soldiers, clear firepower and MQ-9A drone. In addition, Foreign Military Financing FMF is approved by the U.S. Congress to provide loans and then allows the recipient countries to buy U.S. armaments themselves. There is no limit on the amount of this part, so military procurement from the United States includes arms sellers. There are 3 categories of military personnel, but there are 4 methods that can be used. Of course, the United States will target him. Friendly allies generally target countries, so President Biden used the presidential appropriation power during his term of office. PDA made everyone think that, in fact, the U.S. government has long recognized Taiwan province as a country, especially this time President Trump, who is holding this kanban in his hand, and the word country is written on it. So we can clearly see that the first one is China, the second one is the European Union, the third one is Vietnam, and the fourth one is Taiwan province. So China is also aiming at this kanban to talk to the United States. To protest, this is the international reality. So there are still many online celebrity who say that no one has heard of Taiwan province, and there one is online celebrity who doesn't study, so we don't have to discuss too much of the most common arms sales FNS with them. It won't enter the trade quota between the 2 countries because military equipment has its particularity and sensitivity. The reason is that most countries' foreign trade statistics won't cover military equipment, but only count them. The main reason for civilian products and services is that military equipment is unique and sensitive, so it is often confidential and not disclosed, so it will be counted separately. Therefore, military aid and defense expenditures like the United States will not be displayed in the public trade statistics, nor will it be calculated. The second is the sensitivity of politics and diplomacy, because this part of the affairs involves national security, foreign policy, strategic relationships. So because it is not public, or it is conducted by governments of various countries through specific departments to the Ministry of National Defense, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the United States, that is the State Department, in a secret or semi-public way. It is not an ordinary commercial activity, so it will not be included in the trade quota between the 2 countries. Therefore, we use the most common FMS system of U.S. foreign military sales as an example, like the security cooperation that we often refer to. The project announced by DCA here is FMS. The projects announced here are all arms sales transactions between countries. So all these projects will not be included in the statistics of the trade amount between the 2 countries. This part is relatively easy to appear in the special budget within the U.S. Department of Defense or the authorization of Congress and the projects of military personnel to be implemented. Will it be? Calculating the trade quota depends on the following factors. The first is this product. Is it a good or a service? If so, it may be included in the second statistics. Is this dual-use equipment, such as some communication equipment or infrared sensors? This part may be included in the trade quota between the two sides. Obviously, military weapons, equipment, and ammunition will not be included in the statistics of bilateral trade quota. In addition, the items related to military personnel are free of charge by the U.S. government. Therefore, of course, it will not be included in the bilateral trade quota because it is a diplomatic expenditure. The direct commercial sale of DCS is made by the Taiwan government and American arms dealers. These military industries directly purchase it, but its premise is the State Department of the United States must first approve it. This part belongs to the direct commercial sale of DCS. There are some situations in it. Calculate the trade volume between the two countries, just like the submarine Haikun ship we are building now. It has a lot of equipment on it, and we buy it from the United States in a direct slimming mode. Therefore, he will be included in the category of DCS and included in the trade volume between the two countries, or we have purchased their technical services or components from foreign countries, not through the FMS channel of the U.S. government. Then this transaction form is the Taiwan province government's company to the United States. But he must first be approved by the U.S. government, especially the State Council, and these funds are paid by Taiwan province. So he may be included in the trade between the two countries. Will DCS directly awarded in the amount be counted in the statistics of trade volume? I'll make this table for your reference. That is, whether he has passed the customs export declaration. If it is classified as commercial export, he may be included in the statistics of trade volume. If it is involved in technical authorization maintenance services and there is no physical export, then this kind of consultancy technology transfer may not pass through customs, and it is difficult to be counted into the statistics of trade volume. In addition, the authorized production or OEM depends on his individual case, so if he belongs to the Ministry of Commerce and has a record, then he will be included in the trade volume between the two parties for statistics. So like the Navy has upgraded the Fangzhen fast gun system in recent years through commercial purchase, so it is very likely to be included in the trade volume between the two countries. In addition, Taiwan province purchased a lot of IDF or Yongying advanced trainer aircraft built by itself. China's parts, then this part may be included in the trade volume between the two countries. In addition, the F-16AM and BM that we have completed are the original upgrade case of upgrading our F-16 fighter jets to F-16V. There are many upgraded accessories, kits, and equipment are obtained through commercial purchase, so like the APG-83 radar above, there are many weapons-integrated equipment and upgraded equipment. It is included in the import and export trade items through U.S. Customs, so it may be counted, so it is generally a physical equipment. Direct procurement, and it is the procurement of Taiwan province government from American manufacturers. It may be included in the trade amount between the two countries, so if it is a technical consultant, intangible services will be difficult to record in his trade statistics. The F-16CD block, which has just been delivered recently, has moved this procurement case. Because it uses the FMS overseas arms sales channel and is purchased by the Taiwan government from the U.S. government, it will not count it. However, if the spare parts or other equipment kits needed by Taiwan province's F-16 fleet are purchased by DCS, a direct commercial model, in the future it may be included in the trade amount between the two countries for statistics. In the future, the Ministry of National Defense should adjust the way of military procurement, such as our current light frigate, which is built by Neutral Shipbuilding, which is to purchase American equipment. The upgrade case of the just completed F-16V production in Taiwan is also a successful example. In the future, military procurement may have to consider the effect of trade quota hedging, so it may be necessary to try to adopt slimming or authorized production methods. At present, the effect of independent research and development in Taiwan province is not very good, so it is the most feasible way to purchase American equipment and authorize production in Taiwan province at present. Besides, you may have found something. For a long time, Taiwan province's U.S.'s Ministry of National Defense actually prefers FMS U.S. Overseas Arms Sales Channel, but tries not to use direct commercial sales channel. The main reason for DCS is the issue of responsibility, because if FMS is adopted for arms sales, the Taiwan province government signs a contract with the U.S. government, and the U.S. government will take on its performer and allow it to sign relevant contracts with these U.S. manufacturers. So those manufacturers must sign relevant contracts with the U.S. government. If the responsibility is to adopt commercial thinness, it will become the State Department of the United States. After approving our procurement project, the Taiwan province government itself will sign contracts with these American manufacturers. At the same time, the Taiwan province government must send its own performance team to take on the relevant administrative operations of supervising and managing these. Therefore, FMS Arms Sales, he is the government to the government, and the U.S. government will take full management responsibility. But when commercial sales are adopted, later it became a manufacturer from the Taiwan government to the United States. In the past, many problems arose from DCS manufacturers, resulting in the relevant contractors being punished after the problems occurred. Therefore, the chiefs of the Ministry of National Defense later asked to use the FMS method and purchase these military equipment through arms sales channels. These military equipment are the safest way, and currently the US government charges about 3.5% from FMS. However, the percentage of management fees collected has been declining in recent years. Therefore, if FMS is adopted, the US government will take the place of us in project management, and he will charge us a certain percentage of management fees. So in recent years, including the purchase of F-16 and Harpoon anti-ship missiles, all these projects are announced by DSCA International Security Cooperation Agency. It is a channel for overseas arms sales, and the direct sale of DCS is not useless. For example, there was a lot of controversy in the early years about the procurement case of the Lafayette warship Contigi frigate, and in order to avoid the 817 communique, it was broken into parts. Taiwan cooperates in the production of the Navy's Chang'an-class frigate ships, the Army's CM-11 Brave Tiger chariot, or introduces American technology to develop and manufacture IDF fighter jets. It belongs to the category of commercial sales, and the self-made defensive submarines such as Haiken ship and light frigates that we are stepping up construction in recent years are also similar to this. Under the treacherous and ever-changing situation in the world, Taiwan does not have many choices. Next to us is the People's Republic of China, which constantly wants to occupy Taiwan, invade Taiwan, and liberate Taiwan. We now call it the Communist Party of China for short because it cannot represent China, and the whole world is currently. Only the United States can help us, so we must stand on the side of the United States and fully cooperate with the US government, which is the hope of Taiwan province's future. Therefore, what we want to introduce to you in this episode is military weapons, and most of the purchasing items can't be included in the statistics of the trade volume between the two countries. In the eyes of the US government, Taiwan province has long been a country, so how to purchase weapons and equipment suitable for Taiwan province, and at the same time balance the trade secrets between the two countries. All this requires the wisdom of the rulers and the support of the whole people. So if you have a certain understanding of American arms sellers and military sellers, then I believe you can know that it is difficult for them to offset the trade deficit between the two sides. Therefore, in the end, if you really want to purchase military equipment to offset the trade deficit between the two sides, it is necessary to use direct funeral sales and authorized production to make these military deficits. The purchase is included in the trade quota between the two countries and has been counted. We will introduce it to you here in this episode. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.